Have you ever sat by your phone, staring, wondering, why hasn't she texted back yet? That little moment of waiting feels weird, doesn't it? Your heart beats faster, your mind starts spinning, and suddenly you're imagining 100 things all at once. Now, what if you were the one creating that same feeling in her? Wait, what? Yes, you. You could be the one making her heart race. Not by doing more, but by doing less. Less chasing, less texting, less explaining yourself. Here's the truth. No one tells you. The guy who waits wins. Not because he's playing games or trying to trick her, but because he's focused, calm, and not in a rush. You see, most men have been told something that sounds nice but causes heartbreak. Always reply fast. Show her how much you care. Don't let her wait or she'll lose interest. But guess what? That's not how desire works. Not even close. Think about this. What happens when someone gives you candy every day, every hour? You stop getting excited about it. You expect it. You get bored. Now think about candy you only get once a month. Special candy. Candy you waited for. Candy you had to wonder about. You don't just eat that candy. You treasure it. You feel lucky to have it. It's not about the candy. It's about the wait, the space, the mystery. That's exactly how attraction works. When you answer every message in seconds, when you're always available, when you give everything right away, you remove the mystery, you erase the tension, and slowly the magic fades. But when you wait a little, when you live your life, when you take your time to reply, you create a quiet question in her mind. What is he doing? Why hasn't he replied? Is he thinking of me? And that, my friend, that's where desire begins. Not with noise, but with silence. Not with chasing, but with stillness. This isn't about being cold or distant or fake. It's about living a strong life where you come first. It's about not rushing just to make someone like you. Because here's the real secret. She doesn't want a man who answers fast. She wants a man who's already full inside. A man who moves with purpose. A man who responds. Not because he has to, but because he chooses to. When you slow down, you show power. When you delay, you show control. When you stay calm, you become rare. And when you're rare, you become wanted. So here's the big question, my brother. Are you ready to become the calm storm she can't stop thinking about? Why fast replies make you invisible, and silence makes you unforgettable? Let's play a quick game. Close your eyes and picture this. You send her a text. 1 minute goes by, then 2, then 5, and suddenly, ping, she replies. How do you feel? Excited, happy, maybe even proud? Now, flip the scene. She texts you, and instead of replying right away, you wait. Not to be mean, not to play games, but because you're doing something else. You're at the gym, or reading, or working on your dream. She waits. She checks her phone again and again. And boom, something wild happens in her brain. She starts thinking about you. She starts wondering what you're doing. She starts feeling. Now listen carefully. This is huge. People don't fall in love through logic. They fall in love through feelings. And feelings grow best in space, not speed. If you always reply in 2 seconds, if you're always, hey, what's up? The second she texts, you don't give her any time to feel anything at all. You become normal, expected, forgettable. And let me tell you something that might sting. Normal guys get left on red, but mysterious ones, they get remembered. You see, fast replies kill curiosity. And once the curiosity is gone, so is the attraction. But when you create just a little pause, when your answer comes 30 minutes later, or even a few hours later, she doesn't feel ignored. She feels pulled, drawn, intrigued. She thinks, why hasn't he answered? Is he busy? Is he thinking about me? This is not about ignoring her. This is not about being cold. It's about showing her you have a full life, a real one. One that doesn't stop every time a message lights up your screen. That's what makes her respect you. That's what makes her chase you. That's what makes her think he's not like the others. So here's the truth. You don't need to impress her with words. You impress her with presence. By not always being present, you become a mystery, a puzzle, something worth figuring out. And that mystery, it becomes desire. So now, I have a question just for you. Are you ready to stop being predictable and start being powerful? Why chasing her makes her run, and standing still makes her turn around. Let me ask you something kinda crazy. Have you ever seen a cat chase a laser? It runs fast. It jumps high. It does flips. It looks kinda silly, right? Now imagine if the laser started chasing the cat. Weird, huh? The cat would probably stop, maybe even walk away. That's exactly what happens when you chase a girl too hard. When you text her first all the time. When you like every photo. When you keep asking, when can we hang out again? You become the laser that's chasing the cat. And guess what? She's the cat. And now she's not interested. But here's the twist. If you stop running after her, something changes. If you stay still, calm, focused on your life, she starts to look back. She starts to wonder, where did he go? She starts to chase you. See, chasing is what we do when we think we're not good enough. When we believe we have to prove we matter. When we think, if I just do a little more, maybe she'll like me. But listen close. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You already have value just by being alive, growing, and doing your thing. The real power, it's in not chasing. It's in letting her come to you, naturally. Not because you begged, not because you forced, but because you stood strong, like a mountain. Calm, still, confident. You know what's funny? Mountains don't run after hikers, but hikers always chase the mountain. That's how it should be with you. Be the mountain, still, solid, powerful. The world tells you to chase, to send flowers, to text 5 times, to say, please pick me. But Stoic wisdom says, let her feel your strength in silence. Let her feel your value in space. Let her feel your power in calmness. That's when she starts thinking, why does he feel so different? Why does he feel like a man? So, let me ask you something deep. Are you ready to stop chasing and start becoming the one she can't ignore? If that hits something in your heart, what happens in her mind when you stop replying right away? Okay, imagine this. You send a text to someone and they reply instantly every time. You start to expect it, right? It's kind of normal, easy, predictable. But then, one day, they don't reply right away. Your brain starts spinning. Are they okay? Did I say something wrong? Where are they? Now here's the fun part. That little delay, it creates mystery. And mystery makes the heartbeat a little faster. You see, most guys think, if I wait too long to reply, she'll lose interest. But the truth is the opposite. When you don't rush, when you take your time, when you're focused on your own day, you create space for her mind to wonder about you. And in that space, something special happens. She begins to feel more. She starts to miss you. She wonders what you're doing. She checks her phone a little more. Not because you're ignoring her, not because you're trying to play some silly game, but because you're living your life. You're handling your business. You're at the gym. You're chasing your dreams. You're not glued to your phone. And that's attractive. Why? Because it shows you're not addicted to her attention. You're not waiting by the phone like a puppy. You're calm. You're sure. You're busy building. And when you finally do reply, it means something. It's not just another message. It's a signal, a light, a vibe. She doesn't feel entitled to your time anymore. She feels grateful for it. That's power. Not loud power, not fake power, but quiet power. Stoic power. The kind that doesn't have to shout. The kind that says, I see you, I like you, but I don't need to prove anything. So ask yourself this. Would you rather be the guy who replies instantly but is forgotten quickly? Or the guy who replies with peace, purpose, and patience, and leaves her thinking about him all day? You already know the answer, don't you? If you're nodding your head right now, then you're ready for the next stage. Let's unlock the next secret together. Why quick replies can actually lower your value, and you don't even know it. Have you ever gotten a text from someone and before you even blink, boom, they've replied? Every time, so fast, almost like they were just sitting there, waiting. At first you might feel flattered, right? But after a while, it starts to feel different, too easy, too fast, too available. Here's the thing no one tells you. When you're always available, you stop being exciting. It's like a candy machine that never runs out. It's sweet at first. But soon, you stop caring. You stop craving. That's what happens when you reply too fast. Without knowing it, you tell her, "You're the center of my world. I've got nothing else going on. I'm always just waiting around for you." Now think about that. Is that the man you want to be? A man with nothing better to do? No way. High-value men have things to do. They have goals, plans, a mission. They're not always by the phone. And when they do respond, it's calm. It's confident. It's real. That little pause, that space between her message and your reply, it says something powerful. It says, I'm not chasing, I'm building. I'm not addicted, I'm aligned. I like you, but I don't need to drop everything for you. Now here's the craziest part. When you delay your reply just a little, her attraction can grow. Not because you're being rude, not because you're playing games, but because you're not desperate. And that changes everything. You become a puzzle. You become a mystery. You become the guy she wants to understand, not the guy she scrolls past and forgets. So next time you feel the urge to reply in 3 seconds flat, stop, breathe. Live your life first, then respond like a man who knows his worth. Now here's the big question. What if your delay isn't just a pause, but a signal of real power? Why she starts to feel more for the man who feels less. Need to chase. Here's something wild. The more you chase her, the more she slows down. But the more you slow down, the more she starts to feel things. Crazy, right? But it's true. Let me tell you why. When a man is always chasing, always texting first, always showing up, always proving himself, something sneaky happens inside her mind. She starts to feel like she's the prize. And maybe she is. But what happens when she feels like she's the only prize? She stops chasing. She stops caring. She stops feeling that spark. Now flip it. When you don't chase, when you take your time, when you respond from calm, not from panic, she starts to notice something. She starts to feel something. Why isn't he all over me? Why doesn't he need me like the others do? What's different about him? And guess what? That's when she starts thinking about you more. That's when she starts watching your stories, rereading your messages, wondering what you're up to. The delay creates desire. Not because you're ignoring her, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're already fulfilled inside. You're not chasing, you're centered. You're not needy, you're grounded. That, my friend, is magnetic. Women feel something powerful when a man doesn't rush. It feels strong, it feels mature, it feels real. And that's rare. She's not used to it. She's used to guys jumping through hoops for her attention. But you're not jumping. You're walking on your own path. And she'll want to walk with you, not because you begged, but because your peace pulls her in. Here's the part that might blow your mind. She's ranking you, not by what you say, but how you act. And when you act like a man who knows his worth, she feels it. Deep. Now here's the real question. What if being calm, slow, and steady is what actually makes her race to you? Want to know how silence can speak louder than words? The power of silence. How saying less makes her feel more. Ever wonder why the quiet guy often gets the most attention? It's not magic. It's not luck. It's something deeper. Something women feel but can't always explain. Silence speaks. Yep, you heard that right. Sometimes saying nothing makes her feel everything. Let's break this down. Imagine two guys. One keeps texting her all day. Hey, where are you? Why didn't you reply? Are you mad? Miss you? Now imagine the other guy. He sends one message. It's calm, simple. Then he disappears for a while. Not because he's playing games, but because he's busy. With his purpose, his goals, his own life. Guess who stays in her mind longer? Not the guy who floods her phone, but the one who lets silence do the talking. Why? Because the brain hates empty space. It wants to fill it. When you leave space, she fills it with thoughts of you. What's he thinking? Is he losing interest? Why is he so chill? Why am I thinking about him so much? Boom. Desire is building, not because you chased, but because you gave her something rare. space to wonder. And when a woman wonders, she feels. And when she feels, she connects. Not just to you, but to the mystery of you. You don't need to say much. You just need to mean what you say and leave room for her to come closer. Most guys try to impress with volume. You'll impress her with presence. And silence, it's not empty. It's full of power. It says, I'm not afraid to be still. I don't need to chase. I trust myself. That calm, that stillness, that control, it drives her wild. Now imagine this. What if the less you said, the more she felt? And what if staying silent for a little longer was the secret to unlocking her desire? Why fast replies kill mystery and how slowness builds craving. Let me ask you something wild. What if the reason she's losing interest is because you're too fast? Fast to answer, fast to explain, fast to give her all your attention. Sounds crazy, right? But listen closely. Have you ever seen a magic trick where the magician shows you the secret right away? Not fun. No wonder, no excitement. It's the wait, the build-up, the little pause. That makes a trick powerful. It's the same with attraction. When you reply too fast every single time, like you're just waiting for her message, she stops wondering. She stops chasing. She stops feeling. Because there's no space for mystery. But when you respond slower, not to be rude, not to play games, but because you're living your life, you create a small delay. And that delay, it becomes her craving. She starts asking herself, why hasn't he answered yet? Is he busy? Is he thinking about me? And boom, desire begins. You don't need to be cold. You don't need to ignore her. Just let her feel that you are not always available on demand. You've got goals. You've got peace. You've got control over your world. And that control? It's the sexiest thing you can show her. See, when you give everything right away, there's nothing left for her to explore. But when you hold just a little bit back, when you reply at your own pace, you teach her something powerful, that you are not chasing, you are leading. And high-value men, they don't rush, they don't panic, they move with calm energy, like a king in no hurry. So remember this, quick replies may feel nice, but they don't build craving. And craving, that's the seed of connection. The secret of scarcity, why she wants what feels rare. Here's a strange question. Why do people stand in long lines for something they can't have? Think about it. Why do people pay more for gold than for sand? They both come from the earth, right? But gold is rare, hard to find, not easy to get. And when something is rare, the world pays attention. Now let's talk about you. If you're always there, always replying, always showing up in her world, you become like sand. Nice, sure, but not special, not something she feels lucky to have. But when you give less of your time, not because you're playing games, but because you're busy living, you become gold, harder to reach, more valuable, more desired. People don't want what's handed to them every second. They want what feels earned. When she has to wait a little, wonder a little, think a little, she starts to value every second she gets with you. That's the power of scarcity. It's not about pretending. It's not about acting. It's about respecting your time so she learns to respect it too. Let's say you're texting her all day, always available, always quick. Guess what? She won't think it's sweet. She'll think it's expected. And once something is expected, it's no longer exciting. But when you become just a bit harder to reach, when you respond after time has passed, when you let her miss you just a little, she starts to see you differently. You're not like the others. You have depth. You have value. You have a life of your own. And that life? That's what pulls her in. Because no woman dreams of a man who has nothing going on. She dreams of a man who has so much going on. She's honored just to be a part of it. And that man moves slow, lives fully, and doesn't give himself away so easily. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Delay, scarcity, space, but won't that push her away? That's what we'll talk about next. Because what if this space is actually what makes her come closer? Want to find out? The final twist. Why the one who waits? Once more, let's flip the script. What if I told you? The person who waits is the person who feels more. It sounds weird, right? But let's look closer. Have you ever wanted something really badly? And the longer you had to wait for it, the more your brain kept thinking about it. You dream about it. You imagine it. You wonder what it'll feel like when you finally have it. That's not an accident. That's psychology. It's how our minds work. Waiting builds craving. Delay grows desire. So here's the final twist, the final weapon in your Stoic toolbox. When you slow down, when you take your time to respond, when you focus on your world, not hers. She's not forgetting you. She's doing the opposite. She's thinking about you more, wondering what you're doing, guessing what you're thinking, feeling the pull of your energy, even in silence. You become the one her mind can't shake off. But listen close now. This isn't about punishing her. It's not about ignoring her. It's not some cold trick. It's about choosing you first. Because when you move slow, not out of fear, but out of calm, you're telling the world something powerful. My time is gold. My mind is calm. My heart is not desperate. You move like a king, not a chaser, not a pleaser, not a man begging to be chosen. You are already chosen by yourself. And when you live like that, she feels it in the silence, in the waiting, in the moments where she doesn't hear from you, but still thinks about you. That's where desire grows, not in the noise, but in the stillness. So let the world move fast. You move slow. Let others chase, beg, and prove. You stay calm, centered, and focused. Because in this wild game of love and desire, the man who waits is the man who wins.